darling, discard them like blunt track.
You're thinking you don't know when the whitey person say that African didn't build Egypt. You don't think he know what the fuck he's talking about? Let me say this again. You think it's because of racism he say that? No! He knows the truth. That's why he told you African didn't build Egypt. And a lot of you people out there telling you, oh man, shit. You know, it's because of, nah, no. He's sneaky, he's sneak dissing you. He knows what he's saying. It's because he's been hiding the Grand Canyon from us. So he's speaking on code. He's hiding the Grand Canyon, and he knows the Grand Canyon is older than Egypt. Matter of fact, this is where Egypt starts. So he's just throwing this shit at you. He tells you straight up African didn't build Egypt. And therefore, it's for other people out there that might feel bad or might feel offended. Let me just tell you this. Every single god of Egypt is not originated from Egypt. So it only makes sense if I'm a person that's going to a different area, I'm going to carry my culture with me. I'm not going to go to a place, now the place I'm moving, and out of nowhere I'm going to adapt to the place that I'm moving culture. Nah. When I'm going somewhere, I carry my tradition with me. So when we go to Egypt, we bring our gods with us. We call it gods, but it's a form of honoring. And what are these things? Everything you call the gods of Egypt, that's the thing that you don't find in Africa. The hawk. The hawk is originated here. There is Heru. That's my name, Heru. So what you call Horus is originated here. That's number one. So you mean to tell me a group of people that actually from Africa gonna honor or that's gonna create an animal that's not even in that area? Where the fuck they get that inspiration from? Where the fuck they saw this shit? If you couldn't see this animal there, how the fuck you have it there? It's because you come with it with you. It's because you know of it. It's because that knowledge is within you. The hawk is not originated in Africa.
Are raised and schooled in the United States of America, and you have gone to school for 13 years, K through 12, and you aren't a racist, you weren't listening. Now, people really resent it when I say that, but wait a minute, folks. Who do we say invented everything, discovered everything, did all the writing, did all the reading? People. Eventually, maybe you'll actually say when the teacher says, Christopher Columbus discovered America and he met those Indians here. There were no Indians here when Christopher Columbus got here. There were people from Africa who had been here for over 10,000 years before Christopher Columbus was born. It's time for us to teach our children the truth. And it's time for us to say, okay, we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter. People, everybody trace your DNA back as far as you can trace it. And you're going to find out that every one of you has in their DNA some DNA from a country in Africa. That's a fact.
Did y'all know that the state of Florida used to be attached to Africa? If you didn't, don't worry. I did some digging. Let's get into it. Now, back in the day, and I'm talking about way back in the day, over 250 million years ago, all of the continents, they were connected. Now, there's some people that don't believe this theory, okay? But scientists say there's plenty of evidence that tells you that most of the continents were once connected at one point in time. Now, we didn't understand about continental drifting until a couple hundred years ago, you feel me? But scientists say there's plenty of evidence that says, look, there's minerals that are in Africa that are in North America. Also, if you take the continents and you put them together, they fit together like a puzzle. Which is another reason scientists say continental drifting is a real thing. Now, there is another theory about Florida being an island at one point in time when the drifting began. You see, this is where Florida is, okay? Now, they say that Florida broke off. Once South America broke off, it started doing its own thing. But look, if you break down the time periods, right? You got the Permian, the Triassic, and the Jurassic. All these time periods when things were moving and shifting and doing all these things. These are millions of years, right? if you notice where North America is, there's really no Florida. You can see the Texas part, but there's no Florida where North America would be, right? But if you look on this one, you see Florida there to the present day. But let me explain something to you. Now check this out, okay? When Florida was floating doing its own thing, they say it just, by chance, floated back to North America and just butted it up against the bottom of Georgia. Now I know this sounds crazy because I don't believe it. I read it and I'm not believing this. But they say another way that you could tell that Florida was never really a part of North America, the continent. If you notice that soon as you get into Florida leaving Georgia, the red clay stops, right? In Georgia, they got red clay. But soon as you get into Florida, like right over the border, they say that the two land masses kind of like merged into each other. And that's why maybe a little bit of the clay might go over the Florida line, which they say the Florida line is a little bit higher into Georgia. But that makes sense because soon as you get into Florida, it's the red clay is gone. And another thing, if you notice, no matter where you enter Florida, if you coming from Georgia, if you coming from the Panhandle, you coming from like the Alabama way, if you coming from any way, what do you notice when you coming into Florida? A bunch of hills, right? You know, there's a bunch of hills. It goes from like high land all the way down to lowland. It's because they saying that that's the crease when they butt it up. And last but not least, I swear y'all, it don't make sense, but it makes sense. When you in Florida, what we known for? The lowest point, all right? We known as the lowest point. Florida was actually built. What Florida actually sits on when it got to where it's stuck, it got stuck because it could have still been shifted, but it got stuck on a whole bunch of fossils. This don't even sound real. And what also is Florida known for? Our core with all the lime deposit that we have. They saying that it's old marine animal bones that we actually built up on. It's wild. Man, look, this theory is crazy. When I was reading this, I went down a rabbit hole, okay? I'll just be honest with y'all. But we're gonna go over this right quick. I just need y'all to follow along with me, all right? So Florida started out as a part of Africa. Back when Africa was a part of Gondwana, a continent that shifted and broke up into Africa and South America during the whatever era that is, 600 to 230 million years ago. Geologists have found similar sets of fossils and similar rock layers deep underneath both Florida and West Africa. Look, I don't believe none of this, okay? Y'all do your own research. Y'all judge for yourself if y'all think that actually Florida was actually connected to Africa. Put it in the comments. The more you know. Peace.
Oh. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know.
I just made a video about this. Go check it out. America is Egypt. Egypt is America. That's why the pyramid is on the dollar. Tameri, look it up.
Oh. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know.
Yes, y'all, and discard them like blunt trash. Active more Avengers, call that a hawk smash. Your conscious coon sniffling.